Hola y buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Alexander. Hello and welcome. And this is all the Spanish I know. So you're lucky this talk will be in English. I had the experience to follow a talk in Spanish, and that was interesting for me. Okay, I'm talking about the acceptance tolerance model, yeah, there is a subtitle to this model, and it is called "How much diversity can your team stand?" The question is, who of you is working in a team? Quite a lot. So, how's your experience is working in teams free of conflict? Yes or no? Yes? No? Okay, more hands for no. So, and what I watched is that if you see, yeah, in IT, we in our Agile community, we want to have teams that are diverse, right? Because we believe that from diverse angles, we have more knowledge. We can see more different views of the product, of our development, and so on. So we welcome diversity, but often it creates conflict also, because we have different cultures, different beliefs, different expectations, different behaviors. And that is what I want to talk about. So the name is quite a long thing, the acceptance tolerance model. What is that about? So let's first of all talk about what is about the definitions. Acceptance. What is acceptance exactly? So we often tend to say, I can hardly accept that. So like when we look at the dictionary, it says acceptance is I'm fully in, right? So like I completely accept this. So there's no hardly accept. In fact, we use it like, in the model I use it like in the dictionary, so acceptance means I'm fully into this idea. I fully agree what a person does or says or has opinion. On the opposite of that, tolerance. A lot of people tend to say, yeah, I can tolerate that. Yeah, I'm a very tolerant guy. Or I'm from Cologne in Germany, and a lot of people in Cologne say, we are a so tolerant city and everybody's welcome here. But in fact, tolerant means I'm just hardly accepting this, right? I see your opinion, but I don't like it. But I leave you and you can stay here. So it's like just tolerate the existence of the behavior of the opinions. It's not like saying I'm so open to everything. Okay. Being that said, the question is, when we have teams, when we want diversity in our teams, what do we do to deal with it? Is here some Scrum Masters? Great. So the Scrum Masters, when you have conflicts in your team, when you know about diverse teams, or when you set up a new team, what do you do to address conflict? What do you do to address the diversity? For example, just shout in. Non-violent feedback, for example, yeah. So what else could you do?
Reflecting about what is a conflict.
Reflecting what is conflict, yeah. Other examples? Let them try to solve it, yeah? That's already in the solution area, yeah? We come there later, maybe. One thing what a lot of teams do is this. We need team values, because we want to focus on what is our positive intent. We want to develop a value-based team or a value-based development. So the thing is, we focus on things like have respect to each other, trust each other, being open, or something else, right? So that is what we see and what we define to be on the positive area. How does that work in your teams? How much experience do you have working that You define all those values, and what happens then after the retro is over and the team goes back to work? Sorry? It's forgotten, right. The question is, when we see we want to have all the ordinary behavior, right? Every car's parked correctly, no line is hit, and so on. So the reality often is different. And so let me introduce the model that I'm talking about shortly. It has three areas in basic. The first thing is the acceptance area. That all the stuff we agree fully would be up there. Then we have an area of tolerance where we say, yeah, I don't really like it, but okay. And of course, then we need a third area where we say, if that happens, I'm out of it, right? So, as I said before, most team values aim up there, right? We have a positive intent, we want to agree on what exactly do we want to behave like, what is acceptable, and yeah, what can you expect that others behave. So yeah, team values, great. But as I said, in reality, it's going different. Basically, up there is the stuff we want to have, down there is the stuff we don't want to have. Open question stays, what's in the middle? And what I saw in a lot of teams is that is the interesting part. There is the basis of conflicts, because that is all the stuff we don't really talk about. Mostly we, okay, I like this, I don't like this, but there is a lot in between. Therefore, I extended the model a little bit. I found 4 layers in between that. So, and the first layer would be things that is not fully accepted by everybody, but when we see it, it seems like, oh yes, interesting, oh that's great, let's do this more often, right? So it's supportive. It was not agreed, but it is supportive. The second layer would be, questioning. Some people tend to behave like questioning the system. Oh, rules are meant to break, meant to be broken. Sorry. The question is, every time we break a rule, is it healthy or not? So we don't know. Supportive things mostly go up. Questioning things may go up or down. So the third layer would be ignorant. I call it ignorant. So behavior that is ignorant, that doesn't care about others, tend to go negative, right? And the fourth area would be endangering. So everything we would do there is like, okay, if you do more of this for an amount of time, the team would break up maybe. Yeah. Okay, so let's have some examples for that. What do you think about that? I can remember, as I said, I'm from Germany, and when this car came on the market 25 years ago, the people were freaking out about how could they dare to park like this. Today, we see like, why not? It doesn't care like this or this, so yeah, it's kind of supportive. Maybe, why not? It extended our acceptance area, right? So what we have here is typically perceived as unusual, of course, but creative, uncommon, and what people react like, or react, and people is leave like interested or curious. So surprised sometimes. But the positive intent, you can see it. Example for the next layer. How was it park accordingly? I don't know. So the question is, what is the intent of those people? What is the intent of those drivers parking just right over there. We don't know. Maybe when they parked their car there, there was not enough space to do it differently. We don't know. Maybe they just didn't care. So it totally depends. We perceive behavior in this area like, suspicious, questionable, strange. I have never seen that. I don't want that. And it leaves people confused, irritated, or puzzled. So if you see that behavior, or if you have team members and they react like that on the left, on the right side, it might give you a hint about what the behavior of other people in the team is doing to them, right? Let's go one step further. So I don't know how if I was the owner of the blue car, I don't know how to park out there, how to get away. I don't know, and I don't know what is the motorcyclist thinking about. They just didn't care. I think they just didn't care. So the question is, how do we see that? Again, we perceive behavior like this. Maybe it's starting disrespectful, ruthless, even cynical. And others are left angry or annoyed, at least concerned. But there's more. I don't know. So if someone would park a car in the middle of the pavement, of course I would get angry, but would I step over it? I don't know. So question is here, what is okay, what is not okay? And we perceive behavior like this as offending, even threatening or frightening. So we're really like, there's emotion high up. And people feel desperate, hopeless, don't know how to get out of this, don't know how to deal with it. They're worried. And so the question is, what more may be in the area of resistance then? Staying in the example of traffic, maybe this. We don't want this, right? Who would say yes? Under certain circumstances, I don't know. Some action movie maybe, but in reality, I won't never see this. So, the question is here, really harmful things, right? Destructive. Really terrifying stuff is over there. And what people feel is they're violated, they're shocked, and they turn into their instinct, the fight or flight mode, right? They're really pushed into the corner. They can't behave differently. So if you see reactions like that on the right side in your team, that's a real big alarm sign that somebody else in the team does something really terrible to them. Sometimes we don't see it as a Scrum Master, for example. We don't really see that. So we need to have a strong connection to the team to find out if that is the case. So some conclusions we can come to. Or first of all, that was all the areas of the model. Do you have questions until here? There will be time for questions in the end, so no worries. Okay, I go over. One conclusion. Everything against the rules, against the law, is automatically in the area of resistance? I don't think so. Who of you has ever crossed the street in the middle of the night with a red light for pedestrians when no car was arriving? Okay. It's against the rules, right? You should not cross the street with a red light. But is it okay? You decided your own, you're grown-ups, right? You made your own rules. That happens from time to time, even in a team. We decided we have some release strategy and that's the rules. Oh, somebody breaks it. Is it automatically down there? We don't know. Yeah? I would say not in general. And the second thing is what I mentioned before. Breaking the rules is a good idea, really to try something new. But is it always supporting our system? Is it always creating good things? So am I always just questioning the system? No, sometimes I'm really rude with this. When I break rules, even unwritten rules, for example, imagine somebody walks in now with the phone on his ears, like, yes, sorry, I'm late. Oh, I'm at a conference now. We don't want this, right? There's no rule written that forbids this, but is this questioning the system? I don't know, it's just rude. So you can do this. Everybody of you can do this. There's nothing holding you back. But we agreed that it's offensive, or at least impolite, right? So that's what we have to keep in mind, that not always when we have something and we try to jump over a rule, that we help the system. Okay, questions now. When we have the problems in the team, based on all of this, where do they come from? I think it's easy. People are different. And in what kind different are the people different? Let's say we have a team, and every team member has their own model in their mind. So just with their experiences, with their expectations, with everything in their mind. They were grown like this or something like that. So they have the model over there. The next person might be like this. Another person like this. Or like this. Yeah? So maybe somebody just does not have any supportive area in his mind. So he's very wide with his acceptance of a lot of things, but once you cross the barrier of the acceptance, he's just saying, oh, this is questioning to me, I'm really skeptical. That happens. So this is just a random example or random examples of how could people be in a team, right? So question is, how would we deal with that? How could the model now help this? For that, I have a little exercise. If you want to, we can do that now. So I would need 3 volunteers who want to test out how, for certain situations, is there acceptance or tolerance or resistance. Come on, 3. 1, 2, another one. Okay. Yeah, thank you. So I prepared something. I'm vanished behind the wall. Okay. So I hope you can see it from the back. You might not read it, but it is like, yeah, the colors will say a lot. So, first of all, for the volunteers, thank you for playing this. Would you like to take the pen and write your name in one of these columns, please? Just up there, exactly. Okay, Yasin, thank you. Next one, please. Andrea, thank you. And Kate, thanks. There might be a cap somewhere. Ah, yeah, great, thank you. Okay, so I have prepared some scenarios for, let's say, a fantasy team. Would you mind everyone take one of those pieces? Sorry, I'm a little bit cold. Okay, so you have yeah, thank you. You have the pink post-it now, the pink sticky. I created this scenario. What do you feel about? Think for yourself first. What do you feel about when somebody of the team comes late in the daily scrum? First of all, think for yourself. Where would you put that? And if you agreed, stick it to the wall at the same time, please. Oh, okay. We have agreement on that is at least questioning. Okay, I have more. Take a blue one, please. Okay, again, think for yourself first. The blue one means you deployed some code without testing. Another team member deployed code without testing, and what is your reaction to that? How do you find that? Okay, if you agreed. Yeah. Okay, great, thank you. So, and the last one, yellow. And the last example would be, the last scenario is, the product owner puts a new story in the middle of a sprint. Think of it. 3, 2, 1. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, the thing what we see here, first of all, okay, being late in a daily scrum at least is questioning. The deploy without tests, we have a different view, and putting a story in the sprint, also a different view. And the thing is that by this kind of question, giving every single team member the possibility to express their own opinion, you have the chance to locate some conflicts maybe. If maybe this or this could mean there's at least different opinions, maybe the basis for a conflict. So if you see that in a kick-off of a team, of a new team, you could use this to identify, or maybe in a retro, for example, to find out if there is team conflicts. And when you as a Scrum Master see, there's some points I want to poke in, so then you can just create scenarios to that matches your team, and that's the way you can identify, right? How the team thinks about it. Okay, so just the last few slides, wrap up. The most important thing what you need to do, or to to see that, of course, people are different. Yes, that is in any case like it is. But what could you do? You need to talk, right? So that's only the intention to say, yes, we take this into retrospective and then we talk about it. So therefore, we need the Scrum Master and the Agile coach, for example. If you want to do this on your own, I've created a little canvas which you can download on the webpage. I'll putting that on the screen in a minute. And here you have all these areas, right? And the questions and perceptions and columns for your team members. So it's a PDF. You can just print it and spread it to your team, for example. If you have more than 4 members, of course, then print more sheets, right? Okay, so that was everything. Thank you very much. There's the URL to download it, and yeah, if you have questions, I'm free to answer. Yes, please.
Thank you for sharing one question about preparing the scenarios. Right?
Yeah.
How would you prepare the scenario in advance? Would you introduce the concept to the team and then ask them to contribute the scenarios that could be possible conflicts, and it could be a good start to begin the conversation? Or you would just start by introducing yourself, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So what would you suggest? Thank you.
That's so the question was about how to set up the scenarios for a team. I see 2 different ways at least. So the first thing is when I'm a Scrum Master, I watch certain areas of conflict where maybe I see it or I at least assume it. So I could just try out some of the scenarios I see, or I could ask the team, of course. So what's your biggest hurt or so? What I've done in a team, they invited me explicitly for solving conflicts, a team of Scrum Masters themselves. And there I just asked about, I put up the model and I asked about, okay, what is your kind of behavior? What do you think? So everyone in the beginning had just their own scenarios in their own columns. And then we talked about that and said, okay, somebody said like, coming late in the daily Scrum was only mentioned by one person. And it was like questioning. So in fact, it made, unveiled hidden conflicts, because all or most of those named scenarios were in fact, hidden, how do you call that? So aggressions against others. So they were like saying, I see one person is coming late all the time, so I don't like coming late all the time, but without naming the other person, right? So I was able to unveil the hidden stuff with that. What you can do, maybe if there's time, and if you know your team or your company very well, you could create scenarios as examples, just for playing around with them. So I plan to extend the stuff and the canvas with example scenarios for what helps for teams, maybe. Okay, welcome. More questions? Down here.
Thank you, because it was very inspiring.
Thank you.
My question is about, from your experience, is there any minimum level the team maturity has to be in order to jump to this kind of model, or not? Because I mean, we are jumping to, I mean, things that imply emotion, and I mean, it's a delicate territory.
Yeah, it is, definitely, it can be. What I think yes and no. So if you have the chance that the team is coached and has a coach or has somebody that creates a safe environment, like we heard in the talk before, right? So they spread the knowledge about how to make retrospectives, and they taught him about the mindset and how to create a safe space. And then if you have that, you can really dare to ask your team directly. It could be another way to make it anonymous for the first part, so not use columns for each team member, but just use an a complete open space to that, and say, okay, what kind of behavior do we accept or not? I've done that sometimes with group in sessions like this. I ask them what kind of behavior would we accept here, so everybody puts their stuff up there. What kind of behavior didn't we want here, and putting down there. So that's another approach where the people feel safe because they don't have to express themselves too early. You're welcome. Other questions? There.
Well, I have a question, but I'm not sure how to explain it, so I'm going to try. I'm thinking out loud. For me, usually people that tend to accept one or some scenarios are people that are more in the acceptance area, and same happens to the resistance. I don't know what you think about this, and if so, do you think that we should take this in consideration while we creating teams?
You mean the stuff that is down in the resistance area?
Before.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that could be helpful, yes, because when you when you see when you have the different areas, let the people find out what that means to them, right? So the what I have here, this balancing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's important to understand how different the people see their team members, each other, right? Does it help?
Okay. Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
You could
I mean, maybe I'm not explaining it. Probably I'm not doing it good. But let's say we have some people and we want to form two teams.
Yeah.
And we do know in advance by experience that there's some people that they usually tend to resist, to be more resistant to a new idea, to a new change. So I think it would be a good idea not to put all the resistant guy in one team, but to try to have some balance. I don't know if this model can help in any way.
Okay, so how to, if it helps to set up the teams in different...
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just didn't get it first time.
My English is not perfect.
I don't know, maybe yes. So if you say you're trying to start up multiple new teams and you invite all the people to one session and ask them, okay, what is exactly your opinion about the specific stuff, then you could identify the people that agree more on, yeah, let's run this untested code, no problem. So that put them in one team, and all the people that say, okay, very safe space with testing, put them in the other team. Maybe yes, to avoid conflicts, if that's the goal, could be. Question is, in every kind of conflict, is the question, is avoiding the conflict always the thing you want to have? So I think that's the question we need to answer in our organization.
Thank you.
Welcome. You have another question?
No, it was in relation.
Okay. Any more question? I think we have a little bit of time, so. Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
If you can give some real example, or you have done with the scenario, but some real example of the you faced in the past with this, on the ignorant, endangering, resistance. Just anonymous, obviously, but just to understand more or less with this area what can happen, some real examples.
Yeah.
The metaphor of the parking is amazing, but yeah, I'm more talking about,
I know,
you
I
know.
know. Yeah. Yeah, there's one example I have from one team. There was a teammate that was not able to really talk about her emotions, or didn't want to do that, and that led to situations that she every time she didn't feel good with something that somebody else did, she just kept silent and didn't talk about that. So and that, on the other hand, was for the other teammates a real problem, because they couldn't see that there already is the conflict or the conflict inside that person. So it was like the one person said, okay, you're shouting at me, and so I don't want that. And the other person says, hey, and you're stepping back when you have something to say, when you have a problem with me, you're stepping back and don't talk about it anymore. So that was really bad communication conflict. And they put both of their behaviors in the ignorant part. They said, if that stays longer, maybe I don't want to be part of the team anymore. And so that was like, yeah, two different things, but the same reason. Yeah. Welcome. Yeah, I don't want to hold you here longer than needed, but if you have questions more, I'm here and we can talk about this. Thank you very much.